I'm live for the fourth time. I said version three, but this is my first time doing it without my mic. I'm using my headset. This is the mic that I would have on, but I'm not using that. My internet should be stable. Investing in yourself requires some failures too. So, uh, this for the fourth time. Hey, we in this piece. Yo, you do gotta fail forward. You do gotta fail forward. And I'm gonna try one more time to do this live because I think when we talk about how how entrepreneurs be going through some stuff, right? And in this recap for September 12th through the 18th, how I want you to understand that you are your number one investment. Man, for the fourth time we in this piece. I pray, I hope my internet would be good because I want to finish this recording, even if no one is able to jump on because I messed up or the internet messed up, whatever the case. I'll just take the blame, the L, as a learning. But I am going to get this message to you because what's so important is we as entrepreneurs, especially if you're watching this, you understand this is hard work. It's not easy, and you got to continue to roll with the punches. And so there's three things for the last few weeks that I've been doing as I've been talking to you about the what I've learned over the last week of being an entrepreneur as a marketing consultant. And on the business side and on the personal side, as a fiance, I'm in a long distance relationship, but then I have kids that live with me, that don't live with me, that are grown. All these things that take a toll on what does the day to day. It's funny we see the behind the scenes of how things are done, and sometimes you see folks that from 4 to 5. I always like seeing folks, the creators that got kids, right? When you got kids, you don't have the day. When you're single and you can do all these things, like, man, it's cray cray. Like, for example, this right here is when I was in Kenya walking through China Square Mall. Like, I was just taking the video for my kids to show them to see, like, look, this is what I did, this is where I've been. And it's crazy to balance both the lives because as an entrepreneur, and you see the top people in my space, the Gary V's, the Neil Patels, the Amy Porterfields, and they're like, oh wow. But we're in a totally different space in regards to family, home life, where we live. And so I think this is where, as the saying goes, the comparison is a thief of joy. So that's why I'm here to, if you not here live, again, I just want to see with one viewer, you can ask me any questions. I will continue to say, I'm gonna put this in the chat. Um, this is this is your time as an office hour to ask me questions. If not, I'm gonna say anything. Ask me anything, marketing related, entrepreneur related. All right. So um, now that, hey, if you don't want to ask me anything, you just want to sit there and listen to me talk about the weekly recap of the three things that I learned, let's get into it. All right. Number one, and I have examples for all these. So just a quick high level, you can say, Nathan, why am I here? What am I going to get out of this? Number one, I'm going to talk to you about you need to inspect what you expect. And then number two is FOMO, the fear of missing out. And then number three is distractions. Like I said, I'm a single dad. I got kids that live with me, that don't live with me. I haven't started teaching college courses just yet. So, uh, and then I have the business, right? As an entrepreneur, at no point of the day is work ever done. As we know, we're always putting out fires. And so, one of the biggest takeaways for me with this week was I need to inspect what I am expecting. So, I would expect a good video with content as I watch them videos, as I'm putting together videos myself, right? As I'm putting together videos, I never watched them until I said, I'm going to be a content creator. And when I said I'm going to be a content creator, now I'm learning how to structure the videos in a way to where I'm getting views, I'm getting subscribers, I'm understanding what people want. The data is telling me like how long they've been on, when they did, when like what do they not like? Do I not package it correctly? I'm learning all of that. Well, before, not like I started this 6 months ago. I started to take it serious 6 months ago, but I started a YouTube channel more than 60 years ago just to put out my content. And it was just me treating it like social media, not as a business. So I was expecting it to give me more when I wasn't giving more. So, like, I was using this for my podcast. But the crazy thing was, I wasn't even watching it. Like, I wasn't watching it. And so, what leads to number two, and I'll come back to this and I'll just do it in a cycle. Number two is the fear of missing out. When I was going to the networking this week, because my goal is to go one networking event a week now, I was like, I can't leave until I get this done. And that was just making sure I go through my to-do list, which is my to-do list I talked about in the last video or so. And I was like, I gotta get this done because I want to make sure I put out a quality product. And that's from prep to execution to the very end, right? And so when it comes to inspecting what I was expecting when I would have these networking events, I'm gonna get there and by a certain time I'm gonna do this and do that. I'm like, no, Nathan, you just need to be where you're at the moment. And then when you get to the next event, you will get what you need. Because the FOMO piece was, I wanted to get to everyone in the room, right? And this is an old mindset that I had when I first started the business, learning how to network. And now I'm just like, I'm going to get to where I'm going to get to when I get there, and I will make the most of it and be in the moment. I'm not going to miss out on my blessing. What God has for me is for me. What God has for you is for you. You're not going to miss out on it, because if you're doing everything you're supposed to do, it will all catch up with you. It just might not be in the timing that you want it, but you're not going to miss out on things. And which leads to number three. When we miss out on things, let's just say let me start with the bad first, right? When we miss out on things, we get upset, we get in our feelings and our feels, we kind of act this way. And oh, wait, let me put this in the chat because I want to ask a question. Um, what are something, what's that one thing you do, but don't do it to the fullest? And that was the podcast one for me. But number one is expecting what you expect. And I'll put number two in there, which I quickly went through because I want to get to the distraction pieces. The FOMO is you can only be at one place. What one place do you want to be? So I'm going to say where. Where is your preferred place? So number one is what is that one thing you do but don't do it to the fullest? And I'm just quickly trying to put that out there. And then number two, you can only be at one place. You can only be at one place. What is your preferred place? And that leads to number three. When I was as I was mentioning, when I was in my feelings, I would be so caught up in like what I missed out on because I'm fear I'm not going to get a good lead, or I'm not going to talk to a salesperson, or I'm not going to talk, not a salesperson, but to a business owner, or basically a key decision maker. I'm like, oh man, this is upset. And then I get completely distracted from, which is number three, what's your goal of these activities? Like we go to these networking functions. Again, this is my old Nathan old brain pre-pandemic. Okay, I don't do this. I haven't done this for years. But when you go to a networking function, what's your goal? What is really your goal? I've had a couple of networking videos that I put out there, and I said I go there for a specific reason. And when it comes to even with this back end work of the podcast videos, man, I have to get super focused. I have to say, Nathan, this is your goal. This is what you're doing. And yes, it's part of the business. But then I say, okay, how do I need to adjust the business model? Because again, when it comes, I got to use the right hand here. when it comes to these videos, right? We know these videos for YouTube are going to live on. We know video is a new media. We know video is a new way of communicating. And so, just like it took me 4 times to get on this YouTube, right? The YouTube difficulty of going live is just something for me to have to learn and fell forward. And I'm way past beyond the time I wanted to do it because my goal was to record the video, edit this, and then be able to chop up a couple more um, so I can post it for the next couple of days. And then I got to post the podcast and I'm already behind schedule. But, this comes back to inspecting what I expect. This comes back to preparation, which is, I'm going to talk to you about that next week is preparation because I'm having that even with my daughter. Man, she likes to be a little Tasmanian devil, but I'm like, yes, you can get it done, but in your little Tasmanian devil kind of way, creating this little chaos, you're not setting up an opportunity to create a routine that's bulletproof. And so, what I need to do is I start setting up for this about 10 minutes prior. I think I probably need to start about 10 minutes prior because, again, like I'm using this when I try using this mic, and I'm like, why isn't this working? I was having issues with it before, but that was also having issues with the platform I was recording from, and I don't know if it just needs a reset, a restart, but it is frustrating, but that's also preparation. So instead of giving myself 5 to 10 minutes, I'm gonna start giving myself 20 to 30 minutes, just blocking everything out, put on my do not disturb, because and last week when I said go where you're celebrated, not tolerated, sometimes it's putting myself in the position to where oh, I love this part right here in my Kenya. This is perfect. This place right here, Grace needed some new glasses. My baby needed some new glasses. I was like, oh yeah, let's get them, and so we were like, yeah. So she said, like, yep, I'm gonna get some new glasses today. So when she got them, we were able to real fast go in there, get evaluated, and go shopping. And she got the call back, and she was rocking out with some new glasses. And this is the part of like when you are where you're celebrated. Last week, when I talked about be where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated, you're gonna get through so many more things. When I say like your distractions, is because sometimes we get caught up in our feelings and we live by feelings and not principles. We play down to a standard that's not our standard. And so we don't have a standard because when I said in the very beginning of you should inspect what you expect, you have to put yourself in a position to where you will expect nothing less than what that standard that's going to produce results for you. And what are those results? I don't know. Have you sat down and took the time to plan for it? Have you thought about it? Have you given yourself time? When you are, and this is when I say you are your number one investment. When you are investing in yourself, you're giving yourself time to think, to process thoughts, to clean your mind of all the things that don't belong there. Maybe it's even space, but you are now investing in you. You are your number one asset. You being your number one asset will allow you to get the return, right? We were able to get the return on our investment, even though it wasn't planned. We were prepared, as I was mentioning earlier, we were prepared to be able to carve that time out to where now we walk into some place better than what we thought we were. And so this week for me, just going back in the order I put it in, when you inspect what you expect, you put yourself in the position to win because you're not, number two, in your feelings, the fear of missing out. You're not in your feelings about what you didn't get. You're not about like what didn't happen. That like this is my fourth time making this live. I gotta go delete the other lives because my mic wasn't working or my camera wasn't working. You will have to fail in order to succeed. And yes, the failures suck, but you also put the right people in place. My tech said, "Hey, look, let's try one more time. You got this," and I appreciate that because sometimes it's not always about you; it's about having the team around you to support all the things that you do. which leads to number three, and to close. When it comes to expecting what you expect, don't have that FOMO. Don't be distracted, because if you focus on that one thing, because we know that one thing is hard, and sometimes we get distracted because we know it's hard, and so we procrastinate. The more you put this out on you, excuse me, the more that, uh, well, I do want to say, the more you put this on you to get to that level of the success that you want, you would never go backwards. But it's hard, right? Because now that like now that I'm seeing results with my videos, when I'm seeing results with my podcast, and then what from my podcast, I know that's a direct conduit to the leads I get, the clients I work with. My clients even tell me, Nathan, I enjoyed your podcast. I was like, oh, you did? Yeah. Like, tell me more about this. Or tell me more about that. Right. Because look, I love helping people, even though I'm providing this opportunity to the chat. I don't see any questions. And so, like, ask the question. Ask the question. Not everybody wants to ask a question, but this is why I wanted to provide this moment to ask the question that is either keeping you from where you don't want to be, what's why are you not celebrating? Have you asked that? Why haven't you celebrated your last accomplishment? Like, your last accomplishment. Have you said, like, these are accomplishments? Have you put yourself out there to say, good job, here's a pat on the back? When's the last time you done that? When's the last time you taken yourself out? And it doesn't have to be for a meal, but just to celebrate the work that you've done. As entrepreneurs, we're horrible at that. And we just got to get better at that, which is okay. But that's a work in progress. So, if you are looking for help, this is where I'm more than happy to schedule calls with you. I'm sorry, to schedule a call with you, because if this is a area you need help with, let me know. I have a conference coming up in a couple of months. Maybe you should attend that if you're in the area. If you're not in the area, we got technology. Don't make an excuse to where you can't get better, you can't improve. And when you fail, it's okay. You got to get back up, because you have a team of people, because that's how we grow. That's how we get better. Because again, this is when you put yourself to be the number one investment. This is how you grow, because why not? You're the bomb diggity. I'm out. I wish you nothing but the best. Dream big. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, please like it. Please share it. Please comment. Definitely want to hear a comment and say, hey, thank you for sharing, whatever the case may be. But please make sure that you follow the show. Definitely follow me for the lives. We go live every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. If there's certain topics you want me to talk about, let me know. Again, if you want to schedule a call, I can put it, just let me know. Put it in there. Don't be scared to ask that question. But I'll be back next week, next Friday. Subscribe to the show so you can get notified of that. Until next time, wish you nothing but the best. Dream big. Godspeed.